Hello everyone, welcome back to another portal mapping and modding tutorial. Today we're going to be looking at the overgrown style. I already have preloaded a puzzle that I made in a previous tutorial, which I am still editing, and it should be done one day. But this is the finished puzzle. You're obviously going to have your own puzzle and not copy this one for one, but I'm just starting with a clean puzzle so I don't have to go through the mess of doing all the logic and stuff. And we're gonna try setting this cube to the rusty model, although I don't know if you can preview it in Hammer or not. Let me try. Can you? I'm not sure. Basically, what you're gonna want to start with is turning all of your models and props and stuff into dirty models. So I guess the cube just doesn't have it in Hammer. And for the button, let's change the button to the slightly damaged model, or you can do very damaged. Doesn't really matter. Now you're gonna the observation room is fine, honestly, but you're just gonna start with getting the basic textures done and get all the textures dirtied. Like, dirty them up. Make your room covered in dirt and grime. That's the whole point of overgrown, making it dirty. So, you're just gonna grab all the textures here and make them overgrown. Just give your room the dirty textures. Just gonna grab all the dirty textures and make sure your whole room is filthy. And for the floor, you're gonna search dirt, and we're gonna scroll down a bit. There should be a set of 3, and you're going to want to grab the first one. And we're going to replace the tiny ones, too. Let's grab the tiny black dirt texture. Now, we have door frames, and honestly, I'm just going to delete the instance and copy and paste it from the original instance, so it's world geometry and not an instance, if that makes any sense to you. The instance is available for download on the Portal and Mapping and Modding Discord server, which you can get in the description of this video, since this door frame model is crucial to the previous tutorial, and kind of crucial here. Now, for the start of our destruction, what I'm going to do is take out the ceiling of the map. And I'm just going to start detailing the ceiling, because that is where most overgrown mappers will start, in the ceiling area. Just because it's like, you work from the top down. What happens in the top of a room with destruction will affect the bottom. What happens if the bottom does not affect the top? Well, normally. If you take away the foundation, it'll obviously collapse, but you know what I mean. So, we're going to select the sides of this 8-unit thick brush, and we're going to search frame. We're going to grab either this texture, or you can use this one with the white stuff. I don't know if any of my textures are modded, but I know the texture that's white with the rusty square beam is definitely 100% vanilla. And you're not going to see any of the white's texture anyways. It's just going to be a rusty square beam model like that. Now, you're going to have a little square beam right here, and you're going to select the top and go to frame and select this gray texture. Now, you're going to turn off texture lock. It's the TL button, not the one with the arrows, the one without the arrows. And you're just going to copy and paste this little brush around to make your ceiling. And just copy and paste it like so. This is to keep the texture variation that would be with normal ceilings, since if you have texture lock turned on, the textures will, lock. And let's just do it like that, so there's a 4x4 grid. Then you can turn texture lock back on. Once again, texture lock is the TL button with no arrows at the top of the screen. Closer to the right. It's kind of in the middle, though. Now, you can select all these and copy and paste. The only reason we had turned off texture lock is so the tiles would have variation on the bottom and not have the same pattern on all of them. Because every single tile in the texture is different. in a 4x4 grid. So now that we have all these, you're going to select it like that and bring it out and just make an edge around it. Just make an edge like so, because once we do the destruction, this will come into play. And you're also going to want to extend it like so, and texture the outsides with no draw. No draw isn't a requirement in maps like this, but it just helps with the compiler times and optimization. Plus, like I explained in the first tutorial, it allows you to X-ray your map. Now you're going to want to scroll to the bottom and find metal. Now I have a lot of modded textures, but the one I have should look vanilla, or you should have something like it. It's something like this. And you should have textures that kind of look like this. Just set them to 0 rotation and 0, 0 for the movement to just get it perfectly aligned. And you're going to copy and paste it like that and rotate it. Make sure you rotate it perfectly. You can see that it lines up with the grid when it's rotated correctly. And you're going to copy and paste it like this to just start building up your ceiling area. I'm not going to go too in-depth with the ceiling because this is a small map and there's really not much I can do up here. But I am just going to make a small metal area that's rusted up. Because, you know, rust is what Overrun is all about. Rust, plants, and dirt. And, of course, completely destroying and breaking apart your test chamber. Guys, there's dirt in my test chamber. Anyways, you're going to select all these brushes and move them up a bit. You can move it up farther than this if you like. I'm not going to, but yeah, just build the walls up like this, add a no draw brush up here, and now you have a little ceiling destruction area. Now, I have made it a bit low, but feel free to make it higher if you want, if it doesn't fit your aesthetic tastes. Now what I'm going to do is split up this brush into different parts and just get everything no, not like that. Just make there a weird noisy shape in the middle of it. I'm just going to time-lapse this part because it's not very important. Now with this weird shape in the middle, you're just going to select it, and you can either go through the trouble of putting a skybox if you want, but for this tutorial, to make it simple and keep things short, I'm just going to use a light texture. Actually, I'm going to keep it at the default scale. Fun fact, scaling up the size of a light texture with the texture editor will make it dimmer. That's just an interesting thing in Source Engine. Anyways, it doesn't really matter if you use the skybox or light textures in a map this small, it's not going to make that big of a difference. What I'm going to do now is make really big sprites, which is env_sprite. That's env_sprite. I'm going to put really big ones and just copy and paste them across this whole thing. What this is going to do is make a nice little bloom effect, which I do in a lot of my maps, and people have been wondering how I do. Well, this is how. Just a ton of sprites. It's going to be annoying to work with, but it shouldn't matter too much, honestly. Now you're going to do env_light_glow, which is basically the official bloom entity of Hammer. If you look at this entity in-game, it will just make your screen a bit brighter, which helps sell the effect. It's really important to this setup for the Skyhold to have bloom. So you're just going to put a few of these and go into the properties for it. Make them a bit bigger. Just like that. And once we go into the settings and make these a bit bigger, we're just going to copy and paste them around the light hole. And go back to that. Let's copy and paste it like this. And you should be done with your light hole for now. Alright, that's your ceiling light. It's time for things to get to a bit more complicated, though. You're going to be placing a prop underscore static. Searching frame, and just gonna select this model and set the skin to 1 to get a rusty framework model like this. A lot of people I see making overgrown maps do find the frame prop, but they just don't set it to the 1 skin, and it remains clean. Putting it on the rusty skin is absolutely crucial to sell the overgrown look. There wouldn't just be a completely obliterated room that has clean instead of rust in it, when everything else is rusty and dirty and covered in plants. So you're just going to copy and paste these across every single tile in the ceiling, and that's going to come into play right after we're done with this. Just copy and paste it like that. Like so. And copy and paste it in each corner of this. Just get them all over the ceiling. It doesn't matter what shape your ceiling is or what size, you're just going to want to do this if you're going to have a destroyed ceiling. Now we're just going to randomly select a few tiles and destroy them. Like so. And yeah, just knocking ceiling tiles out of the roof. We're going to set up a large destroyed ceiling. And we're going to search concrete and find this. You're just going to make a really small brush in the framework like that. And put it right here. Make it really thin. So we have a thin little brush like that. And now, I just skipped the process of making them all, but here's all the brushes. Just thin framework props like, or not framework, why am I saying that? Glue plates, whatever they are. They look nice. That's all you need to know, they look nice. Just have them all over the ceiling like this of some destroyed tiles, and now we're going to begin the process of destroying the ceiling. We're just going to grab some tiles like this, go into our 2D view, and rotate them a bit. Just do that. And if you repeat this look on a lot of the tiles, you will get a really nice overgrown ceiling effect. Of course, we're not going to do this on all the tiles because there's specific props that look really good in this scenario. So just rotate up your ceiling like this with a few of the tiles, and you're going to really get a good looking destruction effect. Now over here, I'm going to do something a little bit different with this bigger area that I left. We're going to delete all these frames and tiles, just leave barely anything there. Search up wall underscore dest, and you're going to find models that look like this. Just select whichever one you want and position it in your ceiling. Just to make it look like parts of your ceiling framework and stuff is just folding inwards. This place is absolutely in ruins. It's not been looked at for a very, very long time. Now you can do this with the other wall destruction models too. Just do whatever you want to smash up the ceiling and make it look really good. I'm just going to time lapse how I make this ceiling, so you don't have to go through the process of sitting through just so much time of me just doing a ceiling. Time lapse starts now. What we're going to do next is we're going to place beams in the ceiling, like just collapsed chunks of metal. Let me try to search for the prop. Right now I'm looking at beam. Let's see here. No, not this, not this. Yeah, no, not that. Let's find the right prop. Just find something really good. Yeah, like this. I-beam. Yeah, the bent up one. The straight one is easier to position, but the bent up, aka one of them straight. I have to make a joke that the curved one is gay. Sorry, guys. I know you're deeply disappointed in me. We're just gonna position this I-beam, make it look like it fit naturally at the ceiling. I'm not asking you to be a physics major or anything, get a PhD in theoretical physics, but, you know, just make it look convincing. Just do something like this with the beam, and get a second one. Where'd it go? Okay. Get a second one, but don't be a dunce like me and lose the second beam. I'm honestly not sure where it even went. Maybe it went up here? Oh, I can just select it again. Can I? Yeah, undo changes selection. Where is it? Oh, it's in the ceiling. Okay. Honest opinion. Let's bring it down here. Right on the ceiling. Like that. It can just look like it's resting. Although parts of the ceiling dip down, so it's obviously because of gravity gonna sink into one of those dips, like this, maybe? It's a lot of tweaking just to get the physics right. Or not really right, but just make the physics look convincing. Don't play Minecraft trees and make it look like it's floating. Try to make everything look as realistic as possible. Actually, you know what? Do be a physics major and get a PhD in theoretical physics. I believe in you. I spliced up the footage because Hammer had crashed and undone a lot of my progress, so I was just going to re-record it so you can see what all I've done. And the first thing I'd done was just getting some floor destruction ready. You see, there's a ceiling above the floor, which has been absolutely decimated by yours truly. And we're going to need to put rubble from all the tiles that fell. Because, you know, if you obliterated a ceiling, like, say, you, for example, not literally, just let's say hypothetically, you took a truck and smashed it through Codename Henry's house, just to do some physics tests and see how things would realistically look. Now, if you hypothetically took a truck and smashed it through Codename Henry's house, I can guarantee you that both his ceiling would be absolutely obliterated, but his floor would be covered in debris and garbage, which is why we're going to place some of these debris props. These debris props, which are named debris, are very good, very economically viable in these trying times. And you can just place them on your floor to make your floor look cooler. Specifically under destruction is where they look best, but it's overgrown. Nobody's going to really think about it if it's not completely realistic. But you always have Codename Henry's house to, you know, hypothetically, for example, smash with a truck. You always have his house to do such a thing. Just for physics tests, nothing malicious. Just hypothetically speaking, of course, you can just smash this roof with a truck to see how the destruction would look. Now, personally, I think the destruction looked pretty great. And there was lots of little pieces like this from the ceiling, and you're just going to position them like so. It doesn't really matter which ones you pick in particular, as long as there's, like, tiles under the ceiling, you know. If you destroy a ceiling, there's going to be quite a few tiles there, you know. You know, I just noticed that I didn't put the texture there for this, so I'm just going to put a dirty texture. And I also just noticed that you can see my pirating software in the bottom of the video. Please, don't report me to the feds. Anyways, I'm just gonna set this instance for the button base as destroyed too, since we're focusing on the floor right now, and I forgot to do that like an idiot. And let's just move this away, move it around, make it look funny and silly. Funnier and sillier than the physics tests. And just put it like that. See, it looks more destroyed already. Now we're just going to put some debris up here for peace reasons, the treaty. And we're going to position it like so, and just make it leaned up against the wall like that. And we'll make another one, right? And we're going to actually just copy that one and bring it up here. Just make your whole floor look really ugly, because in Overgrown, it's all about making it look natural and flow, and also destroying the entire room. That's the best way I can explain it, honestly. You're really just destroying the whole room. For economically viable reasons, of course. It's too expensive to keep fixing your test chambers, so just let plants grow in them. Aperture, science, carbon dioxide to oxygen transmuting organic things. I'm not good at this, man. They're Aperture branded, and you don't have to worry about it. The plants are viable testing elements. Even the moss on these tiles that you're currently placing everywhere. Yeah. So, just gonna place stuff all over the floor and make the floor look really, really safe to step on, especially without shoes. This is the type of house where you step on the floor and you're doing just fine. Even, you know, this is like putting Legos on your bedroom floor and expecting people to step in it. And remember, in the first Portal, Shell is actually barefoot, with just weird things. Also, the overlay I'm currently placing with the overlay tool on the side is called Dirt Artifacts. After the user from our Discord, Triplix, locked me in a basement for 12 hours, tied me up, and forced me to watch 5 different episodes of My Little Pony on loop from, I don't know which season he likes, but he forced me to watch My Little Pony on loop, and now Triplix has taught me a lesson. I must use Dirt Artifacts, or he's going to lock me in a basement. You are going to want to use the Dirt Artifacts overlay too, or he'll find you. The Dirt Artifacts overlay just has this nice white look, white powder, nothing suspicious here. It looks like things fell on the floor and shook up a lot of dust. Now, you're just going to want to position it below the rubble, because by itself it looks awful, but it just spices up any rubble and destruction. And it removes spice from all the terrorist attacks Triplix does to me. Please help. Anyways, we're just going to want to dirt artifact up our entire floor with all these destruction props. And yeah. We're also going to want to put other overlays. Let's just look through all of our overlays here. Look for some dirty ones. Who knows? Maybe we'll find something really cool to put on the floor. Like, let's try to find some oil stains or some cracks or something. Just looking through all the overlays. Actually, I'm just gonna search overlays only. And let's see what we got here. Quite the nice bunch of stuff. Really cool things here. Let's take a look here. Feeling confident about one of these guys. They look like they know what's up, so let's just try placing one of those on the floor. And yeah, it looks pretty nice. Obviously, I have a lot of assets from other games, so I'm not sure if you're going to have all the same overlays as me. But if you need a general guide, that's probably either from Portal 2 or from Portal 1. I'm not quite sure. Next off, we're going to start placing plants around the test chamber, because it is Overgrown style, and we haven't placed a single plant Except random moss on the tiles. And we're just gonna place some foliage models. The plant models are all named foliage and vines and stuff. And we're just gonna place them around like this. I am no plant expert. You can probably do it much better than me and just creatively place the plants everywhere. I'm just going to time-lapse this. And now it's time to save our work. And we should have a very plant-filled test chamber right now. And the last thing we need to do is just to delete the elevators and remake them in the overgrown style. Yeah. You should know how to make elevators from the last tutorial, so I shouldn't have much to explain. I'll just skip the boring work of remaking elevators. And after our elevators are remade, here I am to play the game in all of its glory. As you can see, I have turned my graphical settings up from a setting other than low, and it is greatly affecting the performance of my game. You see, I'm a simple laptop player doing simple things, looking at this simple sky. Yeah. I might recommend putting it a bit higher up, but other than that, this map is looking pretty good, despite the fact that I can barely run overgrown maps. And puzzle solved. The end.